Hello dear students, you are welcome in this video. Dear students, today we are making a video on a different topic. So today we are going to discuss about how to develop an effective research proposal, because there are so many students who have asked me that sir, we are doing a research on particular topic, so tell us how to prepare the effective research proposal. So today we are going to discuss all the ingredients of research proposal and how you can prepare a very effective research proposal so that your research proposal can be selected for the further research. So before that, what we are going to cover, let's see. Here you can see we are going to cover so many things in this video. For example, we will talk about what is research, because it is very important. So what is research? Because we have to start with the research. First, what is research, then types of research, quantitative versus qualitative research. We also discuss about research problem, then criteria for good research problem, formulating the problem, hypothesis, criteria for good hypothesis, difficulties in hypothesis formulation, utility of hypothesis, objectives of the research. All these elements, all these things should be included in your research proposal, and you must know about all these things so that you can make a very good kind of research proposal, and your research proposal should be selected for the further study. Now let's start with the very first thing, that is what is research. This video is a longer video than our general videos or everyday videos, so stay tuned and watch everything whatever we are discussing here. Very first, you see that I have given a definition. It is given by Thayer in 2001, and this definition says, now we are discussing about research. What is research? Here you can see that the word research is composed of two syllables, re and search. Re is a prefix meaning again, anew or over again. Search is a verb meaning to examine closely and carefully, to test and try or to probe. Now if you look at this word, you will find that we have two words, re and search. So research is nothing but already there is something existed, that you have to find out the new things from that existing things, and hence it is called as research. Researching what is already there, rediscovering, reinventing, this kind of things that we have to understand in the research. If you look at the next definition, it is also a very simple definition by Rocco. Research is a careful investigation or inquiry, especially through search for new facts in any branch of knowledge. Now you will see that it is a careful investigation, and what it adds again, it is for new facts, and it adds to the existing branch. So you have to find out new things from the research, and this is a careful investigation or careful finding. So next definition is by Cambridge Dictionary. There are so many definitions, and there are so many scholars who have tried to define this research, but we have to understand just the term what is research, and I hope you are getting this term. And what did this dictionary say? It is a detailed study of subject, especially in order to discover, again here you can see that, new information or reach a new understanding. So it adds to your existing knowledge. It is a new thing, though already there are the things existed, but those things have been revisited with a new perspectives, and it again draws out the new conclusions, and that is the research according to Cambridge Dictionary. Next we have Oxford Dictionary and its definition. So what is there in the Oxford Dictionary? It is a systematic study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusion. Again you can see that systematic study. So what is research? Research is nothing but a systematic study, and what do you find there? You find there some materials and sources, and it establishes the new facts or new conclusions are met in the research when you complete your research. So this is what about the research. I hope you got the concept, because there are so many scholars and so many dictionaries which define the concept of research. It's very simple. Research includes two words, re and search. What are you doing? You are doing nothing but researching the things which are already existed there. So I hope this is the research. Now it is very important to include in your proposal what are the kinds or types of research. So here I have listed a few types of research, and at the side you will see that some books are displayed. So these books talks about research methodologies, research techniques. You can understand these books. If you want to explore further about research and its methods, just you can have these books. You can purchase or you can find these books in your library and you can read. So these are some of the books which I have listed here. Now let's talk about types of research. So here are general a few types of research we are going to discuss. Why these types are important? Because in your proposal you should be clear about the type of research you are conducting. Say for example, descriptive research. What is there in the descriptive research? You find description, and this kind of research is conducted in social sciences or in humanities or in languages. Again we have analytical research. What is there in the analytical research? Analytical research is nothing but it is based on the analysis. Say for example, someone is conducting research in the stock market or in management. At that time he has to analyze a lot of data, and hence this research includes data analysis. Then we have applied research. Now what is applied research? Applied research is that type of research which results are immediate, or this research is conducted on the immediate problem. Say for example, there is some problem in the marketing field, or there is some problem in the company in HR department, and there they conduct different types of researches, and the outcome or the results are directly or immediately applied to that problem, and this is the applied research. Then we have fundamental research. Now what is in the fundamental research? It is also called as basic research or pure research. So this fundamental research is a long-term research, and its conclusions are derived taking into consideration the long-term or long gain. Again we have these two types are very important: qualitative research and quantitative research. Because based on these two types we have to adopt research methods and research techniques. Then we have empirical research, which is based on purely human behavior or the experience of human beings. So this research, these types also are important. So you should know about in which category your research comes. Say for example, you are conducting a research in social sciences, then you have to categorize your research, and according to that category you have to choose different types of research methods and techniques, and hence you can understand these types. Now there are again different types of research methods and research techniques or research types you can explore with these books. So let's move next, and you can find that we have to discuss two major research types: qualitative research and quantitative research. Now what is there in the quantitative research? You can see that this research is based on measurement of quantity or amount. As the very title suggests that it is a quantitative, means it includes quantity or some kind of measurement or amount. Again it is expressed in terms of quantity, and it includes statistics. So quantitative research is related to this type of things: measurement, amount, or quantity, or statistics, or mathematics. Again let's take an example. For example, room bookings through different modes like internet, emails, calls, letters, or different sources like travel, tours. Then you have tour operators, companies, and government organizations. So you can segregate all this information based on quantity: how much emails you received for the bookings of rooms, then how many calls you received. So you can segregate this information based on the quantity. So how much is important here in the quantitative research, and its methods or techniques also are different than the qualitative research. Now let's talk about qualitative research. Here we can find qualitative research. What is there in the qualitative research? For example, it is concerned with qualitative phenomena relating to or involving quality. Now quality is important here, or kind. Again we have an example: studying the stress levels and reasons for variable performances of staff in different shifts in the same department of hotel. Now here we have to work out the qualities or kind. So you can find here this example is useful to understand qualitative research. The same individuals may perform differently with the change of shift timings. Now this is the basic difference between qualitative and quantitative research. I hope you understand this. And according to, we have to set the methods, we have to adopt the methods to apply for our research. Next, let's think about so here research problem. Now we have talked about different types of research. Here we have to frame the research problem. So what is research problem? Framing the research problem is very important. When you prepare your proposal, when you prepare your synopsis to submit for your PhD registration, so identifying the area is important in the formation of problem or formulating the problem. So in which area you want to work, that is the first prerequisite. You have to think about it, and you have to choose your area of specialization. Origin of the research problem, from where did this research problem origin? This is also important, and you have to think about this. Again, interest of researcher. If you have chosen a very different, or say for example your supervisor or guide has given you the research topic, at that time it may be of not your interest. At that time you have to think about what is your area of interest, and this impacts your whole course of the research. And here you should think about your interest. For example, if you have interest in language, or if you have interest in different types of literatures, then you can consider those things. Then how relevant is your topic? Availability of data, whether the data is available or not, or what kind of difficulties may occur while data collection or conducting your research. Then ethical issues also are very important. Sometimes you have to take permission of different departments when you conduct research in specialized departments. So these things also you need to consider before framing the problem, before formulating the research problem. And framing the statement is the last step in formulating your research problem. How you can frame the statement of your problem, and based on that statement you have to write down the title of your research, which must be very concise and very capable and clear title. So these are some of the things related to research problem. So you have to consider research problem to include in your research proposal. Let's move next. Now here, criteria for good research problem. Here I have listed a few points. Based on these points you can formulate your research problem, or you have to check whether your research problem includes all these things, or all these qualities, or all these characteristics. Say for example, novelty. Your problem should be novel, or there should be newness in the problem. Second is interesting. Your problem should be interesting not only for you but for your guide or supervisor or other people or other students who are discussing your research, or the committee. It should find interest. Then your topic should be very important. Feasibility or amenability you have to check down there. Then availability of data you should consider while formulating the problem, whether the data is available or not, or what is the situation of data there. Availability of cooperation, this is very important. If you are conducting research in some kind of very difficult areas, and there you find that most of the time we do not get cooperation. So if you are conducting research other than the field of education, then these kind of things maybe occur in your research. So you have to consider availability of the cooperation. Then availability of guidance, whether your research supervisor or your guide is able to guide you on the particular topic or topic of your interest. So this thing we must consider while formulating the research problem. Then what kind of other facilities are available for your research? Say for example, there are some kind of facilities needed, and the most important facility or most important thing in research is that it should get funding. So funding, if there are issues of funding, that also you have to consider. Then we have immediate application. What is the immediate application of your research once you complete your research? So you have to consider. Then aim of research, level of research, experience and creativity, and last is courage and confidence. So I have seen that there are many students whose proposals are very good and they prepare very nice kind of proposals, but they are not confident, they are not creative, they do not have experience to share their proposals to the committee, and this thing also impacts your research proposal. Though it may be very good, though it has a good kind of qualities and it has immediate implications, but if you lack in confidence, if you lack in conveying your research to the committee, then there are chances of the rejection of your proposal. So these things we must consider while formulating the research problem. Now while formulating your research problem, you have to ask 3 questions to yourself, and the answer will get you a good research problem. Very first question is, what is planned to be accomplished? What you want to accomplish after completing the research, or what is the objective or aim of your research should be considered here. Second, why it is done. You have to find out the reasons why you are conducting this research, what is the significance, what is the relevance, and what are the implications of your research. And the third question is how it is going to be done. Now here you have to consider the methods, what kind of methods and techniques you want to apply while doing this research. So this is the course of your research, how you are going to conduct this research, what kind of help you need in the course of research. This is the third question. Now how you can solve these questions, here are a few things. Accordingly you can solve the questions. For example, you have to define your problem first, then you have to limit your problem. Delimit means you have to find out the limitations of your research problem. So this kind of limitations have found in the problem, and you have to address those limitations, and you can further say to these limitations as this is the scope to your further research, and you should justify your research problem. Justification is also important. When do you justify your problem? When you study a lot, or when you go to the review of literature, when you have ample knowledge about the subject or about the topic on which you want to just conduct a research. So justification also is important, and after that you can formulate a very good research problem. Next we have hypothesis, very important part of your research proposal. You must include hypothesis in your research. So what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is nothing but it's a proposition and condition, or it's a principle which is assumed perhaps without belief. So you have to assume certain things while conducting research, and how you are going to assume those things. Now you can see that in order to draw out its logical consequences, and by this method to test its accord with facts which are known or may be determined. So this is the use of hypothesis, and you can formulate hypothesis accordingly. Now how we can formulate hypothesis? So good hypothesis includes these qualities. Very first, it is relevant and available technique. Your hypothesis must be relevant. Whatever you are conducting or whatever kind of research you are conducting, it must have hypothesis of relevance. Then there should be conceptual clarity. Closest to things observable, your hypothesis should be observable, and there should be brevity. Now what is brevity? According to Shakespeare, there is a very famous quote by Shakespeare: brevity is the soul of wit. It means that your hypothesis or problem or statement must have brevity, means economy. It should be concise, it should not be a very long or very short, or it should not be vague. There should be brevity and clarity in your hypothesis as well as statement. Empirical testable means it must be you should experience or easy to experience. Specific in nature, the nature of hypothesis should be specific because it is based on some theories, and again you will see that there are some theories related to your hypothesis, and it should be simple, so it should be understandable, clear, it should not be vague. So these kind of qualities must be there in your hypothesis. Now let's talk about the difficulties in formulation of hypothesis. What kind of difficulties occur in the formulation of hypothesis? Here is the very first difficulty: lack of knowledge of scientific method. Means you should read a lot, you should study a lot material on the topic in which you want to make a proposal. Then lack of clear theoretical background. You should understand a few theories in your area, few kind of propositions which are there already in the area in which you want to conduct research, and lack of logical background. You must have this logical background. You should relate your research to the mundane life, or you should relate your research to the society, and so that you can find out the correlation, or we can say that cohesion with the problem in the society. And these things if you lack, then difficulty might be there in formulating the hypothesis. Now, what is the utility of hypothesis? So this is the utility. Here are a few things that hypothesis helps you. Hypothesis helps in selecting pertinent, accurate factors. Then second, hypothesis helps in drawing specific conclusions. So it is very important, because when you complete your research, you will understand that based on this hypothesis you have chosen the path, you have chosen the way, and after that you got some kind of conclusions, after that you got some kind of results, and these results can be termed or in accordance with the hypothesis. Now hypothesis provides guidance to proceed on certain definite lines. So it gives you a way, it gives you a definite path or a definite structure to follow. So this is the utility of hypothesis. Next, let's talk about the objectives. Objectives in the research are very important. Once you decide your objectives, then you will have a very fine kind of writing of your proposal. So you have to understand this technique, SMART. Now what is SMART? Your objective should follow the SMART technique. Means it should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Your objectives must be specific. You have to frame a few sentences or a few statements, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, whatever your research requires. Accordingly you have to specify your objectives, what you want to research or what you want to find out through your research. Your objectives must be measurable. There should be some quality of the measurement in your objectives. Your objective should be achievable. So once you frame your objectives should not be very difficult, and it should not be like that you can't achieve those objectives. So achievable is a good quality. Then your objectives must be relevant, and you should define the timeline. So in this period I will find out these objectives, or I will achieve these objectives. So this is the SMART technique. You should understand, or you should keep in mind that this SMART technique. Next, while writing down objectives, I have seen most of the students do not start with the very word. You should start with two. What are objectives? Objectives are nothing but the we can say that aims of your research. To determine what to determine means to determine, to find out, to ascertain, to measure, to explore. Whenever or whatever you are writing in the objectives, your objectives should start with this word to. So this is the writing of your objectives. Now here we can see the next important thing which must be included in your research proposal is a review of literature. So what is review of literature? Review of literature is nothing but studying the already existed texts, or already existed books, or already existed sources in your particular topic. So it is nothing but material available on the topic. Already conducted research you can include in the review of literature, and this review of literature will talk about the scope of the area. So you will understand what is the scope of area in which you are conducting the research. Then what does there in the review of literature? So you can find out this kind of materials are included in the review of literature. So reference books are there, journals are there, magazines, documents, manuscripts, theses, newspapers or newspaper articles. Unpublished material also is a part of review of literature, or you can consult that unpublished documents as a review. Then you have texts, encyclopedias, etc. Online and offline material also is the part of review of literature. So all these things you should consider in the review of literature, and review of literature must be part of your research proposal, so that the committee will understand you have done a good kind of research while preparing your proposal. And here methods and techniques. also is an integral part of your research proposal. What kind of methods you are going to adapt, what kind of techniques you will implement while researching a problem. Now here you can see there are different types of research methods. Once you decide your area, and according to your area or according to type of your research, you can adopt these research methods, and you have to write down all these research methods in your research proposal. For example, very first research method is historical method, which is also called as biographical method, and here you can find the historical information or historical background is taken into consideration. Then case study method, it is generally used in psychology or sociology or the allied branches. Case study method. Then we have survey method, which is also used in science or in humanities or in social sciences. Then sometimes you have to frame the questionnaires and take the samples. These are the techniques. Then experimental method is used in science, particularly natural sciences, and this method also is called as laboratory method, which is again used in the laboratory. Then you have field investigation and field evaluation. These are two new methods added recently in the research or in the field of research. So field investigation is nothing but the researcher goes on the field and there he investigates a few things, and again field evaluation is a different method than field investigation. What is there in the field evaluation? Say for example, a company is conducting research in the market, or say for example there is a less sale of particular product, and the company wanted to make a research on that particular product, and there it evaluates that product again with a time span. Say for example, in last 6 months, what is performance of that product, or what is the performance of the same product before 1 year. So this kind of evaluation is done in the evaluation method. Then we have action research method and ex post facto research method. So this is used in the descriptive method. So you can find out the descriptive method is also called as ex post facto research method. So these are different types of research methods. There may be other research methods too, and you have to choose research method according to your plan, according to your research, according to the type of your research. So these are some of the methods of research. Now here I have two quotations which I thought are very important regarding research. Very first is, no research without action, no action without research. If you want to do research, you must take action, or without action there is no research. It is by Kurzleben. And next is very famous Neil Armstrong's statement that research is creating new knowledge. What are you creating? Whether you are creating new knowledge or whether you are adding to the existing fields, so that should be considered here. So this is all about the research and what should be there in the proposal. So we will think about the proposal or the sequence of proposal. Here you can find out that constituents of the proposal, what should be included in the proposal. When you try to write down a proposal, you have to go with these things or with these points. Very first, you have to choose a title for your proposal. Title should be clear, concise and simple, and it should directly catch the attention of readers. So this kind of title you must prepare for your research. So this is very first thing. Then you should include introduction. So what is there in the introduction, what is there in your research should be discussed in the part of introduction. First frame a title and then try to write down the introduction. So write down the background of your research topic, or why did you choose this research topic, some general things about your research topic, the present condition of a research topic in the market. So this kind of things you can include in the introduction. Next, you must state a need and significance of the topic, why you chose this topic and why this topic is important, what is the need of this topic, and what is the significance of this topic in the present scenario. So you have to write down in this point. You can write down all these points, and in this point write down the relevant information. Next is hypothesis. You should frame the statements of hypothesis. There may be 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 statements of the hypothesis. Then you have to frame the objectives. Include these points in your research proposal. So try to give concise objectives of your research, 5 objectives or 6 objectives or 7 objectives. So there is no limit of these objectives. Now sixth point is that nature and statements of the problem. So you can frame a few questions regarding your research or regarding your research problem after objectives, and you can include this at the sixth point. And next important part in your proposal is a review of literature. So you can write down the review or whatever texts you have studied already on the topic, and you can state there the scope of your topic, and again how many scholars have worked on this topic. You can go to the university library, or there you can find some thesis, or you can go to Shodh Ganga and there you find different types of thesis in your area or in your particular stream, and there you can find out the research and you can write down review of literature. Next point here we have number 8. You need to state the international national status of your research, and again you should state the relevance of your research. Next point is methodology. So clear the methodology which you are going to apply in your research. So methodology is also important, as we have discussed before. Then plan of the thesis and chapterization. You should include some proposed chapters in your research, or the plan, what kind of plan you have for your next research. Here you can give the timeline also. So timeline also need to be provided there in your research. So your research will long for 6 years or 5 years or 3 years. In some universities your research must be completed in 5 years. So accordingly you can plan the chapterization, or you can plan your thesis. Then expected results and outcomes, you have to mention that. Actually this is not the conclusion or the last part of your research, but you can comment on the expected results. So we are talking about expected results because it is a proposal. Then you should talk about funding, whether your research need funding or how you are going to bear the budget of your research. And the last part is bibliography, in which you can state the primary and secondary sources. So these all are the constituents of a good research proposal or an effective research proposal that you can include. Now there is no limit of the words in composing research proposal, but your research proposal should be in 3000 to 5000 words. So you can use 3000 or 5000 words. Between this, minimum 3000, maximum 5000 words. So you can prepare your research proposal, and this research proposal may be sent to some funding agencies too. Most of the time you will get the funding if your research proposal has a very strong base, or if you prepare your research proposal accordingly. So dear students, this is all about research proposal, and I hope you got the idea. If you have any problem, any query, you can directly comment below in the comment section. I will try to answer your queries. Now you are looking at the last slide. So I will speak generally on NEP 2020 blended mode, IQAC and NAC, English communication, English language literature and translation, and also provide consultancy. If you have anything to share with me, please comment below in the comment section. I am available there. So thank you very much for watching the complete video. Let's meet in the next video.